Welcome to Adventures with Lollygagging. And Jeremy, could you just really quickly just repeat for everybody else that little plan that you had about Arkadiy? Just really quick.
Of course.
I don't know. I don't think we said anything about Arkadiy at all, actually.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
It's
perfectly respectful.
I did because I love and respect my fellow players so much, and I want to carry on the tradition of risking my own character's life. So I think we need to continue the farce of having people pretend to be Arkadiy when they're not. And we might go to an opera house and let's dress up Fortuna badly as Arkadiy and try and play off that she's Arkadiy in an opera. Can't fail.
That makes perfect sense. Are we going to shave Fortuna's head? Because
no, just a really bad like one of those like things
cap.
that you pull over it. Yeah, just a cap.
And then we got to get you go into the kennels, snip a couple bits of like fox hair, and make a little mustache for her to match Arkadiy's.
Right? Yeah, sounds about right.
Plan. It's perfect.
Can't fail.
Okay. Well, hello. Aaron. We're back. We're down in Aaron and Arkadiy tonight, but we will treat him. We'll treat him well. We'll see.
So much
we know
respect.
what happened last time. Aaron wasn't here. Chauncey got threatened. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to that scene next week. All right. So let's get started. Let's just get it in here. So last session, quick summary. Last session, Arkadiy and Chauncey, you two managed to defeat a sorcerer that had attacked them. Well, specifically, it had attacked Arkadiy in the Hollow Lantern, this tavern near the docks in Sag Harbor. But that was not before she managed to shred a bunch of your newly found drinking buddies with some sort of ice magic. Vincent, no one knew where he was at that point because he had gone off through that wall and never returned. So you two quickly fled the scene. Bunch of dead bodies. Fortuna and Solavita, you paid a visit to a guild hall for the architects and canal watchers, and you spoke with Luigi. You asked about Edda's tools. Luigi recognized the Maker's Mark and said that belongs to someone by the name of Oscar Skovgard, and that there's some kind of metal worker in Cametown, which is that small little neighborhood of people who have come over from Came. Luigi also seemed to know Edda as well and said that she once applied for membership into the guild but was rejected, and he recommended that she tried working at the Opera House because they needed capable machinists and things to support their stagecraft. After the meeting, Fortuna and Solavita, you met up with Chauncey and Arkadiy at the Legitimate Bastard. Vincent wasn't there because Vincent was still, first of all, in the sub-basement area things of the Hollow Lantern, where he overcame the assaults, the attacks by his wax family. And then eventually he was joined by Ludovica Tanucci, who is the opera singer that you had identified. And she had made contact with you in the past, I think. So she made you an offer. She said that you need to forsake your familial connections and accept membership into the college, which is an ancient sorceress cabal. You did so. You swore and you bound your loyalty. She led you through some tunnels and eventually out to an islet in the harbor. And then through a rowboat took you to a sailing vessel, which apparently is a very safe space for college members. She gave you a room, you rested, etc. And then in the morning, you had a little chat, and she told you a little bit about the plans of the college. And apparently that they were aligned with the people who have been attacking your family. And it was not a personal thing. They didn't have any specific grudge against the Maidwallens. It's just that they were helping these Saltbound people, these assassins, break their curse. And if they did that, they in turn would get access to some sort of immense power. But they needed your matriarch in the process. She also said that the vessel was getting ready to sail, and that they were going to join another ship for a very important journey, and that you were coming along. You even asked at one point if you could send the family a message, and she said, "Nope, we're moving." And then back after a night of rest, you all, Arkadiy, Chauncey, Fortuna, Solavita, you all returned to your manor. And that's when you ran into Valentina Scarpaccio, Chauncey's love interest. And apparently a travesty had befallen your manor again that morning. And the northeastern tower of your grounds had just inexplicably and out of nowhere collapsed into ruin. And so we're going to pick up, let's pick up right there in the aftermath of learning. So I'm going to say that the four of you in Chauncey's love interest, the Scarpaccio lady, are all here, are all like standing in front of the grounds for Mainwallen Manor. We can see that there are some City Watch officers, including Artura Lamaso, who we've met a few times before, who are like kind of cordoning off. You can even see that there's probably members of the guild of canal and canal watchers and architects as well, probably looking into it. This was a fairly significant incident, and all of you can see like rubble and confusion, and this is what we're after, or this is what we can see. So I'm gonna turn it over to you all. What do the four of you do while you're standing here?
Absolutely awful. We must investigate right away. And Fortuna is going to kind of beeline towards the main house.
Okay. Okay. So you said you were going to the main house, no problem. And you can definitely see that there is a lack of protection. Many of your guards, your house guards, were killed in the assassination attempts yesterday, and so you can see that there's a handful of like City Watch officers who are like checking with you, and then you can see some of your cousins kind of flag you down. But what is it you're using to investigate? Like, what is it you're looking to do? What ability do you think that Fortuna is leaning on here in this situation?
I would say, tempted to say either nobility or city secrets. So nobility kind of connected to kind of our family and, the things that are going to be most important to us. Okay. Making sure that all of those things are still safe.
Okay. So I'll say that you, nobility will take, as you start talking with other members of your family. This is no spend or anything like that required, but you'll run into Altavira, of course, and she'll say, "Where were you again now, Fortuna? Two terrible tragedies here at Mainwallen Manor, and you are nowhere to be found again."
I am, as always, attempting to get ahead of things, trying to get additional leads.
But how has that been faring for you?
We have multiple leads that we're following up on. We just came back to see if cousin Vincent had checked in, but my dear, what tragedy has befallen us this time?
Is that the bald one with the mustache?
Oh, it's not important. You wouldn't remember him.
Well, you missed a very frightening and terrible incident. The tower just collapsed out of nowhere. It's just the architects, the engineers, they have no idea why. They were here inspecting just a few months prior, and there was no signs of warning whatsoever. There was nothing to be concerned about. This was not nothing. This was not marked off. It just collapsed. There's no what's the word that they say? Trauma done to the walls or the interior. No problems with suspension beams or anything. It's like the stone itself just seems to crumble.
Oh dear. Who all was inside at the time that this happened?
Oh, a servant or so. Well, don't worry, we'll find a replacement. But still, no one of import. But still, it was just so awful just to hear the racket. The sun was just coming up. This is not how you start your day, Fortuna.
Well, no, and also we've lost servants that have been with our family for years. That is tragic news. I'm thankful, of course, that we did not have blood relations in the tower.
Servants than you care about your family or your familial estate? What? Oh! And she just looks at you in horror.
As she does, as always. Well, myself and Chauncey and Solavita and Arkadiy and Vincent have been out gathering multiple clues, and we have leads for us to follow up on. But have you been out to look at the tower and gather any additional information?
What What good would that do? Well, I would just get in
of
the
course.
way.
Yes, of course you would get to the way. Stay here and close your ears and make sure you don't hear anything further that might be distressing.
Don't tell
and
me
I will
what
go
to
out.
do. How dare you? You forget your place. You recall, am acting matriarch until our dear sweet Eliana is found, which I can see, despite your absence, you have not done so. So
I am well on my way there.
I am going to stay here then.
Yes, you are. It's such a wonderful idea
on my
that you
own
had.
accord.
Yes, of course. Excellent idea. Excellent idea. The most comfortable chair.
Need to find a servant. I'm so very thirsty. And she just looks around. Solavita and Chauncey, what are you two doing here?
I'm just going to, I don't want to go deal with whatever Fortuna's dealing with. And she'll turn and run towards the Guild of Architects and the tower.
Sure.
To see if she can sort of gather information and assess what they have discovered so far in their investigation.
Okay. You've got two pips in this. Those spend,
Yeah.
I don't think. I think you got connections. This is in your neighborhood. Like you would know some of these people. And if you just basically ask them, like they will show you. And like you see a few of them will come up to you with their hands filled with what just basically looks like dust, like this gray dust. And they'll say, Miss Solavita, I don't. It's so very peculiar. It's as if the very stone itself has begun to, it's begun to lose all sense of structure. It's just whittled away.
It's very unusual. Do you know, I guess this kind of erosion is not likely to happen naturally. So do you think is it from the bottom up, or are we talking up, down, or just the whole thing?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Well,
because could someone in theory have gotten below under the water somehow and affected our tower? And maybe it's kind of, I'll lean in a little bit closer as if I'm saying like a big sorcery could have been used, perhaps. This is not our stone. Our stone has been good for generations. This is not good.
So I will take a spend for this if you want to give me a spend for. What would you make a case for this? Like what? Because there is extra information.
I was just going to go straight into architects, but
yeah, that's fine. If you want to do that, you certainly could.
Because of I would assume this would lean a little bit into sorcery and corruption, but I feel like this is more like engineering and architecture in terms of knowing stone composition.
Okay, so you would know. And this person would kind of take you aside and you would speak away from prying eyes and ears. They would say, well, as you know,
yes,
members of the guild have a certain talent for some things. And we can assure you that it does not seem as though there's no clear signs of a perpetrator. And in terms of the ground level, remains intact. There's nothing to suggest that anything from below, though I do believe, according to our very old records that we just dug up this morning, your family's estate has a very ample series of vaults and undervaults beneath the ground. We could go down and inspect those at greater depth if you think that such situation calls for it. But from
I have been through some of those. I don't think they line up properly with the tower, according to my sort of maps, which I'm sorry I can't show you because family.
No, of course.
I've done the layouts and the color, sort of the cartography of this. There are blueprints for this, and it doesn't line up. So I don't believe those will be taken into account.
No, of course, yes. Your family has a very creative approach to architecture.
Every time a new matriarch takes over, they like to add their own style into the how. Yes.
Well, I can tell you this. It certainly looks as though someone with sorceress capabilities perhaps has, or maybe not a person, but an effect, has somehow befallen the very stone.
And not only that, but we have seen signs elsewhere on the grounds of similar degradation. Not to the severity of this.
Can you walk with me and point them out? And also, do you think the areas that you're seeing this degradation, are they from the same period maybe? Like the same matriarch would have designed them, or?
Well, not with any certainty, but we've seen it. Your entire ground seems to have suffered almost overnight some sort of significant degradation of its building materials.
Oh dear.
The stability of this home is unquestioned. I would recommend, in fact, that you and your family not stay in here overnight until we can put up proper support structures and assure safety.
I'll definitely make sure that my section of the family is okay, and also make sure that all our servants and our foxes are in a safe place.
Excellent. I will leave that to you, of course.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, let's check with Chauncey. So while Fortuna's been dealing with all the Vera Solavitas, but talk to an architect. What are you doing, Chauncey?
I'm not telling the whole family.
When I heard the whole my section of the family,
I think the first thing is like Valentina's there. Oh, Valentina, I'm a man of two minds because clearly I need you now more than ever. This has been such a tragic series of events.
You're going
and if there was anybody
fine,
whose
Chauncey,
mind was sharper than her eye, it's you. But if these people mean to hurt me, they would know. I can't risk it. I can't have you here. You're too important.
No. And she's grabbing onto you. Your shirt is just kind of being pulled off to the side. You got this big bushy chest hair showing up, and she's just like, you can stay.
I'll come for you.
Come, stay on my ground.
I'll come for you, Valentina, but you must flee for your own safety. They would come after you to get to me, and I couldn't have that.
No, she's just weeping. At this point, you can see her eyes getting all wet, and she says, "You come with me. There is a place for you in Scarpaccio Hall. There is always a place for you."
I would. But I am a man of honor. You know this. I must go do my duty.
And she is buying all of this. She's like, "Yes, you are the most honorable man I have ever met." And then she puts her hand on your chest. "Go tend to your family and find me later."
I swear it.
She starts shuffling away, and then she turns and looks at you again. And then she shuffles away a little bit further, turns once more, and shuffles again. And then right as she's about to turn the corner of the street, she looks back once more, sees you, blows you a big kiss, and then you do not see her any longer.
And then following that, I'm going to try and find, probably for investigative style, I'd probably use, I'm not sure whether I'd go charm or trustworthiness, but I'd kind of built a little bit of a bridge with Paulina earlier. From the staff, and see if I can catch up with her and see if maybe there's something that side of people might have seen that other folks hadn't.
Sure, you can easily track her down. She's probably, many of the servants here are very distraught. Apparently, maybe one or two of them were in the tower at the time, but not Paulina. But when you kind of pull her off to the side, she says, It was a great and terrible, just a terrible sound we just heard. It was like a thunderclap, and then when we looked out, blinding sun of dawn, and there where the tower used to be, a heaping pile of, dust. Sir, dust? I don't understand it. And then we still haven't seen Matthias. Poor Matthias. He quite loved that tower. He would look out from the highest window. Certainly he must be there. He certainly must have been in the wreck, but no one has found him yet.
Let's go together. We will search right now. And if anybody amongst us, any of you, if you've seen anything that seemed amiss, anything that didn't seem important, but anything that come to mind, please let us know. We know that you are the heart and soul of this place, and if anybody's going to tell us what's really going on, it's going to be you.
And she like looks hesitantly.
Well, there was something else.
And then she leads you like down the hall and into like this sort of small, like ancillary ballroom. It's not the actual ballroom. It probably was at one point like a much more grandiose like gallery that probably displayed some of your family's wonderful treasures. But this gallery has long since been shuttered because of your lack of wealth. But you can see that in here, there's almost like it almost just looks like things have fallen apart. You can see some of the stone has collapsed, much like it did outside. You can see the wood itself looks as though it is rotted, like the rafters themselves look twisted and rotted, and some has just sort of splintered and fallen to the ground. You can see the tiles, these beautiful, probably once beautiful tiles, have tarnished and cracked, and all sorts of these thousands of different spider red crafts. Like someone has just been throwing heavy things down on it for hours, but there's no signs of anyone actually having done it. And then she says to you,
"This isn't the only place in the manor that has suffered such inexplicable harm. No one can make heads or tails of it. The city watch was here all night. There was no one who came and went. We were, for the first time in quite some time, feeling quite safe. But we heard it and we discovered it. And there's other places as well. Bedrooms, the kitchen itself, one of the rafters is collapsed. It's as if the very manor itself is crumbling."
I don't have an answer to this. This is terrible. We're going to go look for Mateo.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if there's anything more I can discover, I will of course seek you out.
And because I don't think Chauncey usually gives a crap about anybody of nobility, but he is more of a soft heart for people of the lower class. Could I spend my last ridiculous luck to find Mateo?
of course you could. Yes. Okay. So we'll say we go back out. We see Solovita off to the side talking with one of the engineers. And then you and Paulina are like near the edge. And there's like these big piles of dust and debris. And like, again, it looks like dunes where there used to be a tower. And you notice, Chauncey, this little trickle of dust. And you see a hand kind of come up from it. And when you look down, you see a hand is reaching up through the debris, and you hear, "Help, please! Hello, is anyone there? Help me! Help me!"
Keep speaking. I'm coming your way. There's just there's a lot to go through.
Every time I speak, I eat at the dust. It hurts very bad. Please make.
I don't know. Do the clapping or something. Then just make some noise.
I'm clapping. Can you hear it?
I can. Stop talking, you foolish old man.
And so you pull him out, and he is covered in dust and debris, a couple wounds, nothing too serious. But yeah, you could say you have rescued Mateo, and okay, Paulina is nice. Like overjoyed to see him. Absolutely. Okay.
Now, Paulina, I know you offered to say if you could think of anything, please share it. Or Mateo, if you've seen anything that you could share, please let me know. But by the same token, this seems like a very terrible place to be. If you need to, find someplace safe to be instead.
Oh, no, I have been loyal to the family.
Hey, Chauncey, I've just come up behind you, and yes, and I'll lean into Chauncey. You want all of our servants not to be on the ground anymore because the building might come down more. So you just send them to your inn or something? I don't know.
I know just the place for you. You being the magnificent, wondrous people you are, I know of a lady of wondrous repute. And I need you to go to her and tell her I knew that there was nobody of greater honor and virtue that could help you in this time of need, and that you are my closest staff, and I would beg of her to take care of you.
Do you give them
also,
like?
also the one with the foxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you give them like a little message or a token
Yeah.
to show to Valentina?
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
that basically kind of like let Valentina sort of be safe harbor for some of them.
Okay. They will start gathering some of the servants. Okay.
Excellent.
We're going to cut from there. We're going to check in on Vincent. So Vincent, you are not here. You don't know this is necessarily happening. You are on a deck of a ship that has set sail, that has broke from the harbor, and you can see it putting Eversink behind it. And you can see Eversink is getting progressively smaller as it seems as though the ship is bearing southwardly out of the harbor, but then you can tell that it's kind of shifting and turning and venturing a little bit more eastern and northeasternly. But the wind is in your sails. It is otherwise a beautiful day, and you can see that there are sorcerers and there are servants. All again, remember they're all in like uniform around you. Is there anything Vincent is doing during this moment, during this journey, during anything like that? Anything you're up to?
Yeah, I'll pry along the crew. Anyone I can talk to, either the other
Okay.
sorcerers, servants, ask them where we're going, what's going on, how far are we?
Do you want to? Okay. So what would you say you're using? Is there a specific skill you're using? And like an ability, like one of your social abilities? Do you have any?
Yeah, I've got trustworthy or charm points to
Okay.
spend if needed as well.
So I will say no. I'll say initially, if you speak to like one of the crew or something, they'll say, welcome. Yes, we're heading. Initially, we are heading northeasterly. Have you ever been to the swamps?
I haven't been out of Eversink.
No, never. Oh, it is a wide and beautiful world. We are making it there. We are rendezvousing with the sister ship, and then we are making a much more perilous journey. One that is, I've been told, is going to be trying to us all. Have you not been told?
Kept in the dark a bit.
Okay, so now if you would like to do that spend, you might get some more information.
I'll do charm.
Yeah, totally. That's totally fine. Okay. So he says, well, first we are going to the Seething Fen. Have you ever heard of it before? It is a very terrible place. It is filled with Chugat, toad folk. They are very ugly, but very dangerous. They do not like us. They do not like sinkers. They'll harm us. Make sure you stay on the ship. I know you are all very powerful. Of course they are, but they are very numerous, and they too have power in the arts. But the second ship is on the edge of the fence, and it's an old salt lagoon, long since overrun. And from there we go upriver. And you can see he gets like, when he says that, he gets a bit of a, you can see like some concern comes over his face a bit. You can tell that the fen and like when he said the Chugat didn't necessarily bother him as much, but when he mentions going upriver, you can tell he gets a little nervous. Do you pick up on it? You see it all? Like, you can tell he probably has more information, but he's like, you can tell he's a little hesitant. What do you say to coax it out of him?
It's clear they recruited me for a reason. Must be a powerful sorcerer. You can tell me. There's no worry.
Yes, I must say it does calm the nerves a bit to know that there are so many very powerful folk here. I'm sure that Mr. Ludovic, she was going to tell you anyway. But after we meet with the ship and the fens, we will go up to Serpentine. There is a second river that veers northward off of the Serpentine. and we are going to follow it. It is a trying task, but we have the supplies we need,
And he like points to some of the sorcerers.
and they are practiced in the art of wind, and they can create gusts and gales as needed to fill the sails and let us move. But we go to the destroyed plateau. That is where the our sister ship. They need to have a ritual, you see. And after the ritual, Miss Ludovica is owed the price.
Vincent, do you have anything in like Forgotten Lore or anything like that? Do you have any points in that? Or
Yeah, I've got 1 point left.
Okay, so you would know. No spending required. You would know the destroyed plateau. It is is basically hell on earth. Was once the site of like a powerful civilization that has fallen, like Serpentine Empire kind of deal, and it's essentially the story goes that it's been overrun with like demons and such, and no one who ever ventures there ever leaves. It is not a place that anyone's ever really gone and come back from, at least that you're aware of. But you know it's an extremely dangerous and horrifically terrible place, and a place of evil, essentially.
The destroyed plateau.
Yes.
Couldn't even imagine.
Yes, well, you would not have to in a very short amount of time. I will take a day to rendezvous with the friends, and then perhaps another day up the river. And then some would depart and they will go up to the plateau, because obviously many of us must remain with the ship in the river. But I am sure if Mr. Ludovica has recruited you, she wants you there as well.
Is there someone above Ludovica?
What is that? I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
Was there someone above Ludovica? Is she the head of you?
Oh, there is the...
And he looks up at that one cabin that you that she kind of pointed out to you, sort of, but you also she also steered you away from.
There is the headmaster, of course. No one bothers him.
And I'll steer away. I'll walk away from him, but head towards the headmaster's location.
Okay. So it's a large vessel. And you hear him like, oh, did you say goodbye? Did you say thank you? Oh, what an asshole. He says something like that. But you head up and you're standing in front of a doorway that you can tell there's something very off about it. It's darkened, and the wood itself seems almost black in some respects. The grain is almost imperceptible. There's an odd odor as well, not of rot. It's not like I'm not suggesting that, but there's some sort of smell on the almost like charcoal, or the the burning of coals. You can smell kind of wafting, but there's no sign, as far as you can tell, of smoke. But you can smell it nonetheless. I'll say you standing here looking at this is not necessarily going to cause any alarm. But if you try to push in, that might. So that would require some kind of thing. So what is your goals here, Vincent?
I won't go against her wishes and enter it anyway, but try to get an idea of what's happening. Maybe if there's any way to look inside.
Well, you tell me. What would you like to try to do?
I've got burglary or felonious intent to try to get some sort of break entry just to get a view inside.
Okay, so you're just trying to look inside. You're not trying to actually enter.
No.
Do you have? Okay, so if you only have burglary, that's going to be a check. So that's a roll. because that's a general ability.
Felonious intent, if that helps.
Yeah, felonious intent is felonious intent one of the thief ones?
Oh, it's a sentinel one.
That's a sentinel one. It's understanding criminal minds, spot threats, and predict nefarious actions, so to speak. It's up to you. Would you like to? Do you want to just make this happen with a spend, or do you want to roll for it?
A roll. That sounds fun.
Okay, so give me a burglary test. You can spend as many points as you want to increase the bonus. This is going to be contested against their awareness. Actually, wait. Just give yourself. Hang on 1 second. Let me check our stats really fast. Okay, the target you're going for is a 5.
I'll spend the 2 I have. Got a 5.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Nice.
Okay, so you don't necessarily look in through the front, but what you do is you find a way to kind of shift around, as this is like an elevated cabin, and you do notice that there is like a window that has been boarded up, or is more like a curtain, and you're able to kind of position yourself in such a way, kind of tucked in this little corner underneath a railing, and almost in the shadows with the way the sun's coming in, because like you're currently sailing eastward into the sun as dawn has come, and you peek inside, and you're able to kind of reach your hand in very quietly and sort of shift this, and no one seems to notice you. And you see inside, it is dimly lit. You can tell that there is a lantern, much like you've seen elsewhere, that is kind of hanging down, not a chandelier, but is hanging down the way a chandelier might from above. That's giving a little bit of a dim glow to the whole area. It certainly looks like a standard cabin might, with a large desk, ornate of some kind. Almost looks like a captain's cabin. And you can see that there's bookshelves and things that have been, there's some straps keeping a few things in place. But what is very immediately clear to you is that everything has a cover of char over top of it. Everything has been burnt to a crisp. Everything is just blackened. And you also notice that atop of the desk, there has been laid what looks to be some kind of series of maps that don't have any char to them. It's like one of the only things on here. And then behind the desk, you can see standing upright appears to be a coffin.
Be a bit taken aback by what I see and scurry away before someone catches me.
Okay, and you get this look and you scurry away. Okay. Do you have anything else in mind right now, or do you want us to cycle back?
I'm okay for now.
Okay. So then we will move back to the manor. Little time has passed. If you've been talking to people, searching Chauncey, you collect whatever servants that you wanted. You can collect and kind of send off to Valentina Scarpaccios. So Levita, you've talked a little bit more with the guild. Fortuna, you've talked with Altavira and maybe even the watch officer and stuff. Is there anything more that you all would want to do? I would say, like, in terms of other information you could potentially gather here, there is one spend you could probably make if you wanted, if anyone wanted to do it. It would be something sorcery related. So I would look for anything. I would look at anything like Forgotten Lore, or you can make a case for something else if you want as well.
I've spent all my Forgotten Lore, unfortunately.
I do have a point of Forgotten Lore.
Oh, excellent.
So if that is what we're looking for,
Okay.
Who's got the point? I've got the point.
Okay. Would you like to spend it?
Of course I would.
Okay. So I'm going to say the four of you huddle back up together. You've got your information, talk to each other, sharing what you've learned. And Fortuna, you more than anyone else probably know a little bit about the matriarch process, about how does an heir come into play. There, maybe you're not fully abreast of it yet, or maybe there's information that one matriarch only shares when the next matriarch is chosen. There's probably some gaps in knowledge, but you probably have enough to conclude some curious timing, and that your matriarch was taken from you all yesterday in the morning. And the whole day is gone. And the next day, this has now happened. This strange series of degradation of materials, the collapse of the manor. And the other thing it probably dawns on you is Eliana never takes trips since she's been named a matriarch. She's never left the city since she's been named matriarch. She's never, and she's always been here. And you know that you're like the matriarch herself has to take some kind of, she has to bind herself to this place somehow. And you might be able to conclude then that her absence might be the reason why all of this is happening. All of your home is crumbling.
And I'm wondering if maybe like Solovito was kind of sharing some of the information back from the discussion with the engineers, and kind of the sorcery aspect of it, and maybe that kind of middle of the conversation, you just sort of like her always kind of grumpy and displeased face, you'll almost see sort of the light bulb go on. Oh.
Yeah. So that's why the stone is falling apart.
Oh dear.
So I'm just going to throw out just the worst possible idea, because that's what I think of sorcery. No offense, Solovita. I love you. You're darling. But
I know I am.
Do we need to go make some sort of sacrifice to that terrible snake thing?
Oh, no, the bog god, not the snake thing.
The bog god's not the snake thing. I thought they were probably potato.
Chauncey, how much did you have to drink in the last 5 years?
Unquantifiable.
Well, just take it to the past weekend so we can make a more manageable number of drinks.
Well, I know that the fox snakes traumatized you while we were down below, but the bog was like the lady statue on a little island. Or remember? Oh wait, could you hear that? I asked her name and she gave it to me.
Right, but sometimes could it be like this sort of thing? Like the thing is like a projection of another thing. So like maybe if we appease it, we're appeasing the other
hard
thing.
Drugs, maybe hard drugs as well.
I mean,
so I think, as has been our priority from the beginning, we must return our matriarch where she belongs. That is what we must do. We have tarried on other tasks, and they gave us leads, but we must go quickly to follow up on them.
I'm going to ask just a terrible question. Let's say we can't find the matriarch and we really need to make a new one to make this place not fall into the ground. How do we do that? If it's some sort of sorcerer's horrible abomination of events that needs to happen. No disrespect to Solovita, you're darling.
I think you would know a little bit of that, Fortuna. You don't know the full details, because again, the full details are not shared until the heir is chosen. But you definitely know that it involves one matriarch in the heiress somehow. There's some sort of ritual that involves that. So her absence is meaning you don't have everything you need.
Well, and I see the point, Chauncey, but even for that to happen, we do need to find her. She is both are essential.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we do. Yeah, I know, Chauncey. And she'll lean over to Chauncey and do a stage whisper, so Fortuna has to hear this. I think they probably have to drink each other's blood, and I know, right? It's super gross, and I bet you that's why they both have to be here, and so that's why we can't do it, because oh, by the way, it was Borda, the matron of the swamp, was the lady, and so I guess maybe her blood was the first matron's blood, and I bet you they just drink each other's blood like vampires.
All of this speculation is untoward. What? And Fortuna, as she does with her niece, just sort of gives her that look of we must move everyone to safety. This is
I got the important
not
people
a
out.
safe. Altavira is still here. Pelletier
Not important.
is still here.
I'm okay with that one too.
And Fortuna just sighs, just the biggest sigh. I am going to
I feel like you're undermining my work.
as we need to do. It will be very important. Both of your work will be very important. We have things we need to do, but we must relocate everyone from the home. And so that's what Fortuna would go about,
All
gathering
right.
everyone, and to whatever
Arkadiy
extent
would be on my side.
requires convincing for Altavira, unless Altavira kind of already knows what Fortuna just figured out, that this house is going to be unsafe with our matriarch missing.
To remind her she's not the real matriarch. Like, regardless of herself giving her own title, it doesn't actually count. You make sure you say that.
I cannot hear you.
Oh.
Fortuna's bustling
I
around.
said.
So Fortuna's going to gather up everyone that's left in the manor.
Are we sending them to the Scarpaccios, or are we sending them somewhere else?
Oh, we don't
I
have
didn't
the house.
volunteer that to the because that's like my fallback. Like,
So yeah, Fortuna is going to have identified, because Fortuna knows the family tree like the back of her hand. So I'm going to make up that there's some main Wallen, like whatever main Wallen is the best off of the main Wallens that might have space for, a dozen folks in their home would be where she would send Altavira.
A noble person?
If we've got another noble main Wallen.
I'll tell you what, you've got 2 in nobility. You give me spend a point in nobility, and we can make a second noble family that has distant relations to the main Wallens.
Okay.
But like, is that maybe a different, like they, at some point in the past, like, maybe they married or something like that, but like it's any sort of arrangement or connection is purely through marriage and not through blood. So do we want to come up with a name?
Who our dear second cousin Aloysius married into?
Could be. God damn it, Aloysius. Okay. Do we have a name for that family, Melissa?
Surname or first names, or what
just a surname, like the main Wallens. Like you. What would the family name be? I love asking this question of Melissa. So what would the name be? Come on, dog. You can do it. I've been calling Melissa dog all day. I'm like, I'm gonna come up with a new nickname for you. How about dog? What's up, dog?
What about Corteza for fair play?
Thank you, Jeremy.
Because I love the idea of like Aloysius fair play, basically. Aloysius Corteza.
All right. And so there's someone by the name of Aloysius.
Corateza.
It looks like I just did a quick Google. It was like Corretteza.
Okay.
Oh, Corteza. Got it.
I like it. So
we were all Googling.
Yeah.
I won't lie. That's what I do when I need a name. I just look up a phrase, language for this phrase.
There is a really cool series of tools for Swords of the Serpentine, actually, for creating names of various cultures, but also creating Thieves Guild names and creating
nice.
families. It's really cool. I'll drop the link to you guys later, and I'll drop the link in the chat, in the description. So it's really awesome. I don't know who made it, but whoever did, you did an awesome job. Okay. So we'll say that you make contact with Aloysius Corteza, your cousin.
Aloysius is dead, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So we'll say like, not Aloysius, but
or it could be Aloysius Senior,
or it could be like Aloysius the Third,
Aloysius the Third.
The third.
Okay.
They're one of those families.
So you talk to.
I'm not writing any of these names down.
I am. Don't worry.
I am.
We have a video record. Okay, so you make contact with Aloysius Corteza the Third, and you call in a favor, and that is what the spend is, for them to house Pelletier, Altavira, and various other as yet unnamed members of your family who live on the manor that aren't servants who have been sent off. They're all and they will put up a bit of a fight before they go, but eventually, because you make the spend, they will go. And that leaves your manor, other than some guild architects and some city watch officers, basically empty at this point now.
Yeah, I would say Fortuna would attempt, if at all possible, to see if we can still get the city watch to sort of make rounds, just so that this place isn't entirely like not looking for them to go inside the building, but just be, kind of making the rounds just to see if there's anything nefarious.
They will cordon it off as a site that is likely due for demolition. And this happens not uncommonly throughout if there are certain buildings that have been deemed some, because things do not sink at the same rate in Eversink, strangely enough. Some things sink faster than others. And so they will cordon this off as a place that is deemed unfit for travel. And so there'll be some city watch officers, there'll be some architects and some engineers kind of figuring that stuff out. But nonetheless, there is your manor and all of its degrading glory. Okay.
And Fortuna would imagine that Altavira doesn't necessarily know Aloysius off the top of her head. And so Fortuna is going to be just ever so as she is with Altavira, that of course I have maintained correspondence, as has Chauncey maintained correspondence with our other arm of our noble family, the Cortezes, of course.
I have agreed many times espoused the reason I refuse to perform violence is in honor of our honorable cousin Aloysius, who sacrificed himself.
Well, as he should sacrifice himself, the Cortezes are a lesser house. In terms of the arrangements being a lesser house, they should, of course, make sacrifices for their betters.
Altavira says.
And Chauncey has maintained this excellently.
Which one is Chauncey?
How fortunate for them that they're going to have you in their presence showing such grace, such an immaculate demeanor. Clearly, they will benefit from your... His Majesty too much.
And she's looking at you. And she was about to insult you.
So.
And then she says,
Charm.
Well, no. Majesty is perfectly acceptable, I suppose, in a pinch. But I am not here for me or my titles. I'm just here to ensure my family's safety.
I understand it. I'm so grateful that you're here to do so.
That is why I designated Fortuna with this task, to ensure that those in the family who are in danger are removed to somewhere of safety. Yes, a lesser house and one we prefer not to invite to our functions, but nonetheless one that we are connected to. So you are welcome.
Yes, and hopefully I have performed the task that you assigned to me.
Oh, Fortuna, why must you always try to steal credit? My goodness gracious. Oh, do you stoop to nothing? Nothing. There's nothing you would not stoop to. Oh, goodness.
Well, you would
now
know.
In the time of our family's greatest and the honor is still missing after all. Oh,
yes,
goodness.
Yes, and you are going to go to the Dear Cortezes, and we are going to continue the investigation and find it to its conclusion.
Yes, if you think that is the best use of your time, Fortuna, rather than tending to the family's needs, then yes, Fortuna, wander off once more, and while you're gone, I'm sure some other travesty will befall us that I will have to once more shepherd us through. But yes, go.
It pains me that I will probably have to join her to do so, but I want you to know that we have the utmost faith in you. Thank you for being there.
and she looks up at you and she says,
You know, Vincent, you are the one who's best suited for this task. You will keep this, my cousin who has... She leans in. I will be honest with you. I believe she has designs on Eliana's position. I would not put it past her to have orchestrated all of this. So keep a very close watch on her. Yes, Vincent?
Don't say.
I do.
I didn't hear it from you, of course.
Of course. We understand each other. You will be
Very
my
well.
inside agent. Yes.
Yes, of course. You can rely upon me. Vincent is your man.
I have always said that. When you were imprisoned, I was the one who argued that, well, you shouldn't be. That is what I argued. And I said, that Vincent fella, he should not be imprisoned. No. He should be released, in fact. Yes. And then they said, well, Arthur Vera, he did, in fact, kill dozens of people. And I said, well, who of greatness does not kill dozens of people in the rise to greatness?
Would it be too much to hug you before I leave?
I'm not one for physical touch, but for you. And since you are taking on this very essential task of proving how Fortuna is responsible for the abduction of Elian. Yeah, yes, okay. Oh, you are quite strong. Oh, look at you.
But I mean, he has to lean into it. He doesn't know what else to do.
Of course. That's why I turned at you. I knew you would. Okay.
So Lavina is just like dying behind Chauncey and Fortuna and giving Fortuna perpetual, why didn't you just leave her in the mansion eyes?
Somewhere in the shadows, Arkadiy is just shaking his head.
Yes.
He's shaking his head.
I would just continue to assume the identities of everybody in the family at some point.
That's what they get for not knowing you guys. Okay. So with that taken care of, servants taken care of, family taken care of, what's the plan next for your group? Where do you go next?
We are going to the blacksmith, no? Still early in the day?
Cametown, yes. I do
Okay.
believe Cametown and dig up whatever we can about Etta and the blacksmith, of course.
Okay. We'll say it's
Machinist.
midday. We'll say between
Oscar.
searching the grounds, organizing the safe removal and relocation, like that probably took a few hours at the very least. Okay. So we'll say you all head over there. Let's check back in with Vincent. Vincent, we are once more on the deck of the ship. Is there anything else that you have thought about doing? The ship is moving. You would notice, I know you said you hadn't been on a ship before, but you can definitely tell that there are sorcerers on the deck who seem to be going through various, kind of exploring their spheres of air, and they are certainly accelerating the speed of the ship. It is going faster than you probably would have guessed a ship of this kind could go. So they're moving quite quickly throughout the morning. What do you think you're up to?
I'll fish into some of the intentions of the sorcerers, maybe get an idea of what they're after.
Okay. Is there a specific investigative ability you would say you're tapping into for this?
I don't have much left in points wise, but
I'm not asking for a spend.
Okay.
I'm just asking, what are you using?
Let me take a look.
Just remember that investigative abilities, including, basically like, just because you don't have any points left in your pools doesn't mean you still don't get the credit for, say, just generically using those. The spend is just getting something extra that you would normally get. So looking at what you've got what? Trustworthy, charm, ability.
Forgotten lore. Or Sorcerer's Cabals even, maybe as the allegiance.
Okay. Also, I would say, by the way, I would put 5 refresh tokens in the pool for you all ferreting your family and your servants away from danger. So go ahead and put 5 general refresh tokens. Sorry, Vincent. What is it you're using again?
I was saying the Sorcerer's Cabal allegiance.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I have that.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll say that you meet do you go up to one of the people who are actually actively casting, or you go up to one of the others who are kind of off to the side?
Yeah, ones that aren't too busy.
Okay. So you meet a man you would probably put him in his middling years, but he is relatively attractive for his age. He is probably in his 40s or so. And he's got dark black hair kind of combed over into like this almost kind of big swoosh. He's got his clothing is very refined, and you can see there's almost like ruffles around the collar a bit. And he is drinking from a goblet near the deck, and you can see that he has looks to be some books and things that he's been reading through. But now he is just kind of looking out as you're sailing at immense speeds, and his hair, nonetheless, seems to be staying in relative shape.
Might I join
next
you?
to him, next to him, you can see there's another chair, and he will look up at you, and he will say, "Yes, by all means, have a seat, sir."
I'm Vincent. I've recently joined.
Vincent, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. You may call me Aesop.
Aesop.
Yes.
Quite well groomed for a sorcerer. You from Eversink?
And he looks around, and he says,
I beg your pardon, sir, but you are quite ill-groomed for a sorcerer.
It's been an arduous journey for me.
Yes, I've heard some of your story. Ludovica was very eager to have you on our side. Tell me, what was your experience like within the Summer Palace? Was it quite terrible?
It was dark every day. Not knowing the time. Just dark all the time.
I have heard that they have special cells in the lower levels, specifically dedicated to those of our affinity.
That's quite true. They pretty much abandon anyone that goes down there. Lock
he
them away.
shakes his head.
They are fools. Ever seen? They are cowardly fools, afraid of anything they do not understand, and even half of that which they do understand. But it is quite a nice city, is it not?
It's a wonderful place.
Indeed, indeed. Many of us were uncertain if you would accept Ludovica's offer. Some of us thought you might have lingering ties to your family. Family is a very hard tie to cut, after all.
It wasn't easy, but you're locked away for years. There's something inside you that can cut that connection.
Oh, well said, sir. Well said. Yes. Well, soon you will have, all sorts of opportunity in front of you. You might travel the world. You might explore new corners. You might find, interesting new sorceries to practice. Have you thought a bit about your goals?
It's still a jumble up there. Is that what you're after?
What am I after? Well, I am just a curious sort. I have heard about I have heard about Plateau, and I've read about it for most of my life. Really, it's a bit of curiosity on my part, more than any. After that, though, there's a certain point where if you have enough power, no one can be sent to try to take it away from you. They would have to strongly consider just leaving you be. I have a mind to find an island out there in the world and make it my own. Yes.
Is that the same for Ludovica?
He kind of tilts his head, kind of swirls the goblet a little bit. No. She has her own charge and her own motivations, of course. She keeps some of that to herself, as we all do. However, I believe that there is something personal to this all. Not with your family, of course. We all could care quite little about them. However, Ludovica
is very motivated to see this done.
Tell me more about the salty crew members. Why are they involved?
Well, that is where your family does make an appearance in our interesting story. They are, to some degree, your descendants, or no, that wouldn't be correct. No. Ancestors, yes. Most of them are a few hundred years old. They look far better than you would expect someone of their age. Yes. There's a reason why we need your matriarch to break the curse that has befallen them. It's because it's your line that has resulted in that curse being upon them. Yes. Are you familiar with the stories of, what is his name? Commodore Falcone.
I've heard his name come up.
Yes. It seems the story I was told by one of their bosuns, perhaps, a very large man with a big axe. Anyhow, the story I was told was that your, whatever he is to you, he was a man who was bold. I give him that credit. And he was adventurous, and I can respect an adventurous spirit. And he was restless, so very restless, and he was not one who could stay long in any one port. He settled here and there, little tiny pockets of families all throughout, playing, proverbial and otherwise, as sea around the world. And then he got so restless one day, and he saw not the grandeur of a larger family, and he heard the stories of the plateau. And he thought to himself, he has found all that he needs to find here already. What better treasures, what better adventure might be had than taking his crew to explore this place that is unexplorable, to plunder this place that is unplunderable, to face down the demons that inhabit it and come away with it with riches that is beyond imagine. And so they set out for it. 2 ships it was, hence the title. But only one ship returned. His, of course. As our Saltbound friends will tell you. They were left behind. They encountered some sort of entity that was more capable than they were. And so the brave Commodore Falcone fled. And only some of those in his charge fled with him. Others were forced to remain behind. And the only way that they could survive was to bind themselves to this entity. And it seems that they have been doing its bidding for, hundreds of years at this point. And they have grown weary of it. And they seek to sever that allegiance. But to sever the allegiance, they must break the curse. And that is where myself and my esteemed colleagues come into play. Yes?
Got a reliable source. You know more about my family than I.
No, I know very little about your family, sir. Other than, aside from yourself, they are filled with, fools and philanderers and those who would waste their lives chasing after one new fashion or another, and not after anything of meaning or of purpose.
It hurts to hear. There's potential ones.
Well, he leans forward very carefully.
You have severed your own allegiance to them. I can see it. We have heard of it. You have bound yourself to the college and thereby severed yourself from your family. Do you not remember?
Of course I remember, but they're still individuals.
True. Did Ludovica warn you about what would happen if you went against your oath to us?
I'm afraid to find out.
As you should be. But you have no lingering loyalty to those insufferable fools?
No. Of course not.
Well, then there's nothing to worry about.
And I'll just chill, look out the side of the ship with them here for a bit.
Are you thirsty?
Oh, if you would, yes.
So, he pours you a little goblet full of whatever he's drinking and slides it over to you. What a marvelous invention this ship is. Marvelous indeed.
This is
And he
been
starts sipping.
a fire. It smelled a bit of a smoke.
Oh, no. That is our devoted headmaster. His proficiencies are in other spheres.
I see.
You will make his acquaintance in time. I have no doubt.
That quells my worries.
Does it? And he smiles and starts sipping. Okay.
I'll sip with them.
All right. We'll fade out of that scene as the ship is just continuing to travel northeastward now towards the mouth of the Serpentine River and towards the seething fen. But we're going to check back instead with the other four. So you all said you were going to Cane Town. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So get a little music going here. All right. So Cane Town, you would know is, it's basically a section of the foreign districts. It's one of them. There's many foreign districts, more than one. That is mostly comprised of people who have hailed from Cane, one way or the other. And you know that Canians have a tendency to be very, in some ways, like they're very good with trinkets and machinery and metalworking, but they're also very proud of their sort of rebellious spirit of sorts. And so sometimes those that have perhaps too much spirit find their way out of Cane to other places. So when you arrive, and you might have been here before at some time in the past, it's not like this is a place that is off limits to other folks from coming through. It's a very smoky grouping of blocks. There is still there's still the canals and the bridges and such, but you can definitely tell the water here has an ashiness to it, like as if there's Smith runoff. And it's also, there's like constant sounds of clanking of machinery. You can hear the sounds of industry, and the air here is thicker and dirtier in some ways. It is very much like you're in a very large forge. It's a little bit warmer also in some ways. And as you kind of move down the streets here and there, looking around, you kind of get jostled as there is a significant number of people coming and going. You hear the sounds of industry and of business. You see hawkers kind of calling out wares here and there. And you can tell that no one's really like eyeing you as you travel these streets, like in any kind of, like no one really seems to care one way or the other. What would you be trying to do here? Like, where would you go? Like, what are you trying to accomplish here?
Are we mostly trying to track down Etta, or?
Well, actually, we've got some of her tools, and apparently they're made by Oscar, who's a metal worker in this area. So maybe he knows her?
Okay. I have an idea to maybe, I don't know how to track that directly, but I have an idea to maybe find one or two people who might be friendly enough to point us in a direction.
Sure. Yeah, I was just going to ask directly, but people don't tend to like me, so yours probably a better choice.
We will follow your lead, Chauncey.
So
Okay,
I have
Chauncey, what
a
are you
combination of, like I've got my iconic item of my little black book of people I remember. And it seems like this is a district, very proud, spirited people. It seems like those are the kind of people that would also be involved in, I don't know, maybe sporting events, maybe like eel ball. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody that would have been a rival team, but you kind of have that respectful rivalry sort of thing. And I've got a combination of, I've got common, I've got that iconic item. I could maybe even do trustworthy or charm. I don't know, but maybe they could be somebody who used to be a bookie that I used to like hedge bets with in the area.
Okay. You would know then. You would know. Do you want to spend a point? And
I'd be happy to spend a point
to like already have a relationship, like a friendly relationship, and call in a favor.
Sure,
is that
I'd
the
be
idea?
glad to
Okay.
do that.
You would know. Okay, you would know of a man by the name of Stig Alvagast, who runs a place called the Black Ledger, which is kind of a money exchange / loan shark kind of operation that is not entirely official, considering that much of that kind of industry is localized elsewhere in the city, but it's specifically geared towards like kind of this this particular crowd. So when you head to this place, you are immediately brought before him, as like you throw a name, whatever it is, or and you can see the door opens. You come into this smoky office. He has definitely got a pipe going, this sort of ornate pipe, very scarred man. You can tell, very calculating looking eyes. And you can tell he's broad-shouldered. He's got kind of a smirk on, tattoos on his face and such, but nonetheless, it seems like he has elevated himself. And he says, as you come in, Chauncey Wallen. Oh, that is what you go by these days, is it not?
Hell, when the role fits, I play it. But my goodness, Stig, so much character. I wish I was half the figgy that you are. Look at you.
Drink in my splendor. It is quite an offering I give you.
The vintage is divine. There is no doubt.
Yes. You have not introduced me to these people who come with you.
Oh, these are some of my very favorite people. Sometimes you have found family, and then sometimes you have family you didn't know you had. And sometimes your found family can be people that you actually like. Crazy. I know. This is Solavita. This is Fortuna, the main Wallen. Pretty on the up and up. I don't want to speak too much about it or make any airs, but kind of important.
Oh, I
Fortuna
think you have made
just
several airs at this point, Chance. Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise anyone.
Very nice to make your acquaintance, good sir. And she's sort of waiting for.
Well, hello there. I am Stig. You may call me Stig. There is no reason to stand on ceremony here. And Fortuna in Solavita. And who is the darkened man in the corner scaring my
That's
assistant?
Arkadiy.
Ah, Arkadiy. That is not a name of Eversink. Very interesting.
Yeah, he's not from Eversink. You are right.
Well, Chauncey, what is it I have done to deserve such a wonderful surprise today? What is it I can do for you? Or have you brought me opportunity?
Perhaps. In fact, I would very much hope so. I've tried to surround myself with people smarter than myself, because that seems to be the greatest way to succeed when you're just middling. We can't all be you.
Well, I have tried to surround myself with those who are smarter than me, but I have not found any. So, if you
I know.
happen to
Unfortunately,
come
it is
across
my
one-
lot in life to find so many that are.
Well, you have many other talents, of course. So not
I do
all
know this.
have to be of the intellect. Some can be purely charisma. Yes, you ooze it, my friend.
You charm me so much. So my family here, they have questions about somebody in this area, but I had said to myself, Chauncey, if we're going to him into Tangtown, we would not speak with Stig first because it would just be rude, right? To just go wandering through without at least
I would feel very
first.
insulted if you did not come see me. If I heard that you were in my neighborhood and you did not come see me, I would hunt you down and I would cut off your hand.
Right, and I like my hands. I use my hands. I want to keep my hands. And I say to myself, Self, go speak to Stig first, of course.
Well, yourself is giving you quite good advice. Now, what is it I can do for you?
This is where I will admit to my lesser cognizance of the situation at hand and beg your forgiveness as I let those of greater understanding ask about who is it we're searching for again?
Yes. So just Oscar. He does like architecture and engineering tools for the guild, and we got some tools that we're trying to track the owner down for. So do you know where Oscar is?
Oscar, yes, indeed I do. Yes, he is quite easy to find.
Oh, great.
Yes, you can find him at the Steam shop, of course. This time of day he would be working, and it is public, and you could go in. If it is there something you need made by him? He is quite talented.
Oh, good. Okay, well, maybe I should get some tools updated if he's good at them. And do you happen to know, I guess, someone named Etta Yanitar? She would have been here. She's been here for a few years now, but she apparently has been in the area.
Yes, and Etta Yanitar, yes, we know her quite well, yes.
When was the last time you saw her?
I have not seen her for some time, but we are all very proud of her. She is a member of the guilds of, architects and canal watchers. She is the pride of Game Town. She has ascended past the...
lovely. That's lovely. Yes. We're so proud of her. That's so lovely. And Fortuna's like jumping over Solomita. That is so lovely that you are proud of her.
No, but wait. Look.
Very
so
talented,
so
very
proud.
Smart and talented, capable. She was driven. Her family, they would be very proud of her if they were still living, but they are not. Unfortunately, they died many years ago, and they left with her a very significant amount of debt. So that she has found stable employment and within such a revered institution, it makes all of us who have care for her feel very at ease that she will eventually dig herself out of such troubles.
Yes. Who's the debt to?
It's more than just one or two. Debt, someone has purchased it, and I don't necessarily know who, but suffice to say, it is. They are not people who are very friendly or patient.
Okay, so either maybe pirates or there's a bunch of people that we know. Okay, great. Thank you. That's good for me. Bye. I'm not good with people. I'm just going to go now. You can talk to the friendly people now.
You have very curious family there, Chauncey. She is a bit of a spark, is she not? Yes.
Oh, goodness, I know. I mean, sometimes people say that mercury can cause madness. I think really what it is, gold causes madness, because as soon as I got myself attached to this family, I've seen nothing but madness. Yeah. And at the same time, it is rather fun.
I see. I have heard that madness and insanity passed down from family to family, that it is something that goes from father to daughter and mother to son. So perhaps your family is filled with lunatics. I kid, Chauncey. I kid. I apologize,
so
Fortuna. I am so very sorry, Fortuna. Sometimes I forget my way. Chauncey has a way of bringing out the immaturity in me. I can assure you, I meant no offense.
I'm an absolute cat, and I'm so sorry to bring you down to my level. I apologize. Fortuna has done her best to elevate me. But,
what is the word?
Chauncey is full.
You are full of shit with your apology. Right?
Yes,
I know you better, Chauncey.
jocularity he is indeed full of. Yes, I think I will leave you two gentlemen to your reunion and join my dear niece outside. It was very nice meeting you, Mr. Steeg.
You do not need anything more from me, just a name or two. Oh, well, this is a very easy endeavor this time.
Honestly,
Last time,
I would ask
Chauncey
you,
came
where
to
did
see
you get
me.
that belt buckle? It is rather striking.
I won it. Indeed, I did. I won it. And he looks around. After our bare-knuckle fight inside the steam shop, it was a way of burying an old grudge, you see. Yes.
You know,
You
I
like it,
know a
though.
pair of brothers that if you want to try and build up some sort of wager, there's a certain family that there's a twin of them. You've got the smaller brother who's canny and the bigger brother who's mighty. I bet you could maybe, if you build it up with a bit of fanfare, get some good bettors in place. I think there's some money to be found. And I'll share the information of the brothers that we had caught up with earlier. Just, a little tit for tat. Be like, hey, I think you guys could build up a nice prize fight.
Very interesting. Do you know if they will work with those here in Kingstown? There are some importers and exporters who do not care for my people.
Well, I think it's worth trying to network, and if I'd be glad to put in good word. Because, I mean,
word from
clearly, old
Chauncey
friends
will
need
go
to
a
look out
long
for one
way.
another.
Yes. Well, I believe your word could either bring me great fortune or could get my head put on a spike. One of those two. Never
Goodness,
anything in
no.
between.
No. I would only put my own head on the chopping block. We know that.
Your head has never been on a chopping block. You have found a very convenient time to be disappeared whenever the chopping block is brought out. How interesting.
Well, I will admit you know me very well, and I am very grateful to have seen you again.
Well, you are most welcome. We must catch up, my friend. Is that all? Is there nothing else I can do for you?
Honestly, you know what? I'm going to let them do their thing. You and I should have shared a drink for a minute.
Of course. And so we'll say
Chauncey
the door
will
closes.
avoid responsibility for
Okay.
a little bit because I should join you, and at the same time, I think Chauncey would just stay here and drink with this guy for a minute.
Tuna's just tapping her foot and
I
just
don't know
crossing
why
her
we
arms.
didn't just tell him the truth. Wouldn't you want to know if the person has a whole life of lies and also probably made deals with the Lost College / pirate people that are okay?
No, so Levita,
Yes?
if there's one thing that I have tried very much to impress upon you, it is the importance of appearance. And the appearance that she has left is that she was a member of the guild. And to poke holes in that appearance, unless absolutely necessary, is inappropriate.
Okay, well, oh yeah, Chauncey started drinking. Let's go. I can see him in there. He's with his friend now.
So here's the thing. This guy's going to refuse to take a dive. But if you play it the right way, you might make him think
If we
you're
wait
asking him to
for
make a
him, it's
dive,
going
but
to
he's
be
not
like 3
really make the
hours.
dive. But then you bet against him taking the dive, and it's like the whole double bet.
We're really
Your
going to
mind
split
is
the party now.
Truly a dizzying thing.
Fortuna is going to go in and tap Chauncey on the shoulder.
Excuse me, Chauncey, your bet appears to have requested you. Are you his older sisters? You have a very interesting...
Oh no, she's definitely too old for that.
Oh, goodness gracious. No, she is not. She is a vision.
Oh, she is. Oh, you know what? I need to coordinate the two of you to go to an opera together.
An opera?
We're going tonight.
Oh, sounds very interesting.
In fact, I've heard there's a show going on nearby. I will get back to you. Stig.
And Fortuna, kind of squeezes
I will be back
Chauncey's
with you soon. It's
elbow.
so good to see you. I miss you.
Okay. All right.
I'm so glad we beat you in the championships.
Yeah. And you could hear it just be like, "We were robbed. There was a penalty that was not called."
I know you were robbed, and I just don't care.
And so you pull Chauncey away. Do you guys? So what do you do next? You know exactly where to go.
Let's
You know
go
where to
to
find
Oscar.
Oscar.
Yes.
Okay. You head over, and I would say he also probably gave you where to find it. And it's only a couple blocks, like this small little area, this neighborhood, and it's daytime. It's this ramshackle shop. You can see there's tinkerers, there's smiths, there's metalworkers. They're all kind of working at these various work tables. Some of which you can hear them hammering things. Others are shearing things. It's very hot and sweltering. There's definitely, and this is just for players, there's definitely sort of a steampunk vibe in here, but not necessarily one that's particularly developed. But you can tell that this is a culture that sees machinery as like the way forward, right? And so you see lots of them kind of playing around with. Some of them are toys, some of them contraptions, gears, and etc. You ask around, and you get pointed to a man in the back who is working at like this elevated platform. He is quite large, in fact. You would probably peg him about 6'6", 6'7". He's an extremely large man. You can see that he is extremely well built, as he is swinging with one hand this massive sledge that probably would take any of the other people in here 2 hands to swing. Soot streaked. You can see he's wearing these goggles that he's occasionally swiping away, and yeah, you can tell he's working on something. And you come up, and how do you make introduction?
So am I allowed to tell him about that when he asks and gets it wrong?
Only if it's necessary. Mr. Skovgard? Mr. Skovgard.
Looks up. Skovgard. I am Oscar. Skovgard. What is it? Yes.
Yes. Might we have a moment of your time?
I am at work. What is it you need of me?
And
he's like looking down at you. He's enormous as he's just sort of looking down, and you can't really see his eyes because they're goggled.
And Fortuna will sort of elbow Solovita because she had the thing that had his.
Your work, yes. These are tools that I found recently.
You found my tools?
Well, they have your stamp on them. Not your personal tools, but tools you made.
Yeah.
I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course.
He takes the goggles and puts them up on his forehead, and you can see like his eyes are like white, like around the eye, but then like the rest of it sort of soot stained. And he takes a look at it, and he's like, yes, these look familiar. Yes, that is my mark. Why are you bringing me these?
Okay, so these tools, and I look sideways at Fortuna, were discovered by somebody who tried
to an Etta Yanatar.
Okay, he stands up a little straighter, and he kind of brings the hammer like across his body at this point. He's holding it. Why are you asking me about that, Yanatar?
They're her tools, and we found them. And have you seen her recently?
Why does it matter if I have seen her? Are you looking to return them? If you are looking to return them, I can take them and make sure they are delivered to her.
Yes, but because I am a member of the Architects Guild, I have to give them to her. I can't just give them around because it's if somebody not in the guild has the tools, it's bad form for the guild.
Can you not just give it to her at the guild hall? For she's
been missing, so we need to go find her.
That's why we are trying to track down.
She's been missing for like 2 days.
I believe a few more than that, indeed. And she's sort of looking at Chauncey.
It's so hard to admit this. I mean, I've been here, but I haven't been here with this part of my family for a while. Look, things are difficult. Some nasty things have happened where we're from. And Etta, I just want you to know, she has been the most cornerstone element of our house Not that some people would know to admit it, but
What do
Oh,
you
it's not
mean
going to
of
be
your
me that
house?
tells him.
I'm a bastard, but I'm a maid Wallen. You know how that is, right? Right. And I'm going to try and tap into
Speak
the
plainly,
trustworthy
sir.
trait.
We're
Basically, I'm going to try and
to-
tap into trustworthy.
Okay.
Here's the thing. There are those that would try to accuse her of some terrible, heinous acts that have happened on the main Wallen estate. I know that I have some relatives, distant, but still relatives, that would say things against her. I would very much like to prove her innocence. And I think that's why she has gone to ground. I hate to put you in a bother. I really do. But I think if you could help us find her, we could work with her to prove her innocence and keep her whole. I don't want anything bad to
Okay.
happen to her.
All right. So you're trying to. Okay. So are you willing to make a spend?
I'm willing to make a spend on trustworthy, basically saying, like, I
Okay.
just don't want anything bad to happen to Edda. Please help us help her.
Okay. Go ahead and make the spend. And you can
Okay.
tell that he was taking a defensive posture. And anybody who's got like liar's tell, you were picking up that he was seeming a little evasive.
Yeah.
This is the
And
group
as you-
with two people with liars. Tell.
Yeah. You can easily
Yeah.
sort of tell that he is certainly he's certainly taking a position of somebody who probably knows more than he is willing to say. However, as Chauncey lays this on, you can see that he kind of exhales a little bit. And he says,
If what you say is true, I am pleased that you have come here. Etta is a good person. She is a very hard worker, and she has been paying off her family's debts that she has not accrued for her entire life. She is a quick study. She's very smart, but she has occasionally taken steps that we are not quite approve of. However, if you think you can help her, that pleases me, for she, it seems, is in quite some trouble. Trouble, it seems, with sorcerers.
Oh, yeah. She does, yeah.
Oh, I really hate that so much.
Oh, yeah, I know who.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Like 90% sure. I'm not sure. I have to look at Fortuna if I'm allowed to talk about it, though.
Fortuna gives you the look that she always gives you.
Well, do I have your word, sir, that if I were to connect you to Etta, that you will help her and you will not harm her?
I am not a man of violence or ill will in any form. I am now adopted into the main Wallen name, but I am a man born of an orphanage.
Speak simply, sir. I asked you a yes or a no question.
Yes, of
and
course.
Neither of those words have come out of your mouth.
Of course, I feel for her. I am born of simple stock myself, and yes, I want well for her. I've heard how my uncle speaks of her and the things that the people say in the noble houses. It is so brutal, and she's only undergone it to pay off the debts that weren't even hers. I'm a man of two worlds, and I don't understand either of them, and it breaks my heart, and I just want to help this poor woman. It's not fair. Why should she suffer this?
I believe you. You are very attached to her. I appreciate this. She is yes, there are many here who feel similarly.
and then he steps close to you, Chauncey, as you're crying, and he says, "There are many here who think similarly. Now, if you wish to meet with Etta, you will follow me."
Thank you.
And then he turns and he calls out something to other people working in this workshop. It's a language I don't know if any of you would know, as it's Camian, basically. It's the Camian tongue, and they all kind of look up at him, men and women covered in sort of sweat and grime, and they look at you, and they look at him, and you can see they all just kind of give like a nod, or they kind of raise a fist, and then he starts walking out of the workshop, and he motions to you to follow, not so much out the front the way you came, but kind of into the back, asking you all to follow. You go?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, Fortuna brings up the rear, kind of making sure that Arkadiy follows.
Okay. So as you all, and he would definitely be slinking around the shadows. Not that there's a ton of shadows in here. There's so much fire, like, smelting and such. There's all sorts of weird
The
brighter
the light, the darker the shadow.
That's true. That's fair. Okay.
Stereotype is throwing.
Okay. So we're going to cut from there, and we're going to check back in with Vincent. Vincent, you have been traveling on this ship for hours at this point. And as you look off into the water, you no longer really see Eversink as clearly, and you have begun to move away from like ocean waters, and you can tell that whoever is navigating and steering the craft is doing so very carefully. The ship has slowed significantly. And not only that, but you can see the waters themselves have become darker and murkier. And you can see these large hanging trees that are off on the sides of the shore here and there drooping. And you can tell that you're kind of getting more into the marshlands, the swamps and such. And they're being very, very careful at this point to see where they're actually traversing with the ship. A couple more sorcerers have actually started to sort of go through their spherical processes, and you can see in some ways the ship seems to have kind of risen even slightly, as though like it's more buoyant in some ways. You're not entirely sure, but you would guess that there's something being done. But you look around, you can feel this humidity has started to like kind of beat at your skin. There's sweat has certainly begun to sort of soak your clothes at times. The sounds of insects swirling around you, and also the movement of various swamp creatures. You can see like lizards and frogs and other snakes and such kind of moving about in the waters. Okay, what is Vincent doing around now?
I'll go around and see if I'm needed places. If anyone needs help, I can offer it.
Okay. So yeah, we can say if you're asking for help, like you're asking to help, like you'll check in with one or two, or maybe Ludovica. But they would ask, like, what are your, like, what is your talents, my friend? What is it that you are proficient in?
I'm best with dealing with people's emotions and spirits.
I see that is a very insidious power to toy with emotions of someone. However, this is not necessarily a place that we would need such a thing. However, if the sellers that we are to meet are perhaps ornery or dare to reject our hospitality, then perhaps we might call upon you to make them feel their darkest shames. And your other spirits, they're curious. It might be very useful when we get to the plateau, you see, as there have been many in the past who have tried to make it to this place, and they have died along the way. Perhaps some still linger, if not caught up in the ebb and the pull of the plateau itself. No, it does not seem as though you have anything that would be immediate use to us. But we will think on it, yes. Keep an eye out for Chugat, however. They hide amongst the marshes. We will take a skiff, and we will make motion in a sign, and that will alert our allies to come out from their hiding place and meet us on the river waters.
What exactly do they look like?
You have not encountered the Chugat, have you?
Can't say I have.
They are quite hideous. They are like a toad in some ways.
They have very large eyes, far apart on their faces. They have skin that is, well, it is marked by strange patterns, although they clothe themselves. They are an intelligent species of a sort, somewhat primitive. They very much dislike ever-sinkers. So, and from what I've heard, they will not hesitate to cause issues. So keep your eyes on the dark recesses of this swamp. If you see any movement, alert someone.
That I can do.
Okay. So I'll say as you are kind of keeping an eye out and looking, what do you have? Do you have like do you have vigilance?
No, I don't have any of that.
You don't have
Only
anything in
like
vigilance?
corruption, lore.
Okay. Okay. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would give you. Vigilance would be ideal, but since you don't have that, do you have like wilderness mastery?
No, I'm not a warrior at all.
No monstrosities?
Yeah, I'm pretty one-noted, just like corruption stuff.
That's fine. That's fine. So you're really good at doing this sort of keeping an eye out. So I'll say this: there are multiple times as the ship travels where you see movement in the corners, in the shadows and such. None, like as you kind of look out, but it's usually a tail will be seen slithering into the water, or you'll see like a fox kind of scurry from like one space to the next, like this kind of dark mottled looking fur. But you never see anything that matches the description of some of the sources that you spoke with. And at a certain point, you see they lower a skiff, the same like boat that you were on. And then a handful of them, both a few sorcerers and some of the crew, climb in, and you can see they're getting ready to leave. Not everybody, but you can see a handful of the folks. So maybe about like 3 or 4. And again, the sorcerers are numbered probably around a dozen or so. And you can see a handful of them get into the boat and a handful of the crew. Anything else you would try to be doing at this point, Vincent?
Maybe just like work with a couple crew or sorcerers, kind of like have them join my side-ish, make them like trust me a bit more.
Okay. Try to get some allies or something like that. Okay. Like crew specifically or sorcerers, because those are two very different groups.
Sure.
So which one do you think?
Let's go with crew for now. I think they're easiest.
Okay. Do you have like trustworthy?
Yeah, I've got trustworthy.
Okay. All right. So, and are you looking to make a spend to sort of like have like a permanent group of them that could come to your aid if something were to happen?
Oh yeah, that sounds good. I can spend it.
Okay. So make that spend, and we'll say that there's a small group of the crew who somehow are convinced that you are somebody worth the following. What do you think's the argument that you make? Like, we don't have to necessarily roleplay the whole thing out if you don't want to, but what do you think it is you say to them to sort of convince them to back you or in some ways?
That I've been in these dark places or been in the dark. I'm pretty used to it, and that their worries or their feelings of unsafety I can protect them pretty much.
So you find like maybe like a young deckhand sort of towards the rear of the ship, like looking out, has a lantern up and is kind of carefully, like you can see their hands shaking a little bit, and then you just kind of come up and reassure. They kind of look up at you, and you can tell like a little bit of sweat coming down, and you see something shift in the water. And he kind of looks down again, and then maybe you find 1 or 2 other folks. Maybe there's even one in here that knows of you from prison. They've spent some time there as well, and so you kind of, I'll say you have like maybe three deckhands who that when push comes to shove would probably have your back, if ever that were to happen.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
We're going to cut back one more time to Chauncey and Fortuna and Solavita. As you are led to you're led back into this it's not so much like chambers, more like a kind of a warehouse or storage place, and you can see as like the door opens up, he kind of hangs a lantern and he calls out, Etta, Zai, do not be alarmed. I have come and I have brought those who wish to help you. They have given me their word. They will not harm you. Come forward. Do not be afraid. And as you guys are standing there, you watch as like a small shadow kind of gets flickered against the wall, and you see coming around, you see the very familiar face of Henrietta. And she, like, her eyes go wide. She's like, no, not them. And he's like,
we
no.
didn't bring Pelletier. It's okay.
But her eyes look over towards Arkadiy, and you can see she is quite concerned.
It's okay if you can...
Fortuna will kind of step in front of Arkadiy, kind of between Etta and Arkadiy, while Solvita talks.
He stabs you. Oh,
it's okay. We have a fairly good idea of the debt you have, which then got bought by probably the Lost College, which is like the pirate ship that came into the Sag Harbor a couple of ways ago, and probably they forced you to betray us. So if you can give us information, we're okay. Like, honestly, if you had done a little bit of a better job... I look at Fortuna, dealing with our lovely... Okay, no, I'm not allowed to say that. I'm getting the disapproving face. Look, it's okay. I have your tools, so here... we can probably make a deal. If you're willing to work with our family, well, not Pelletier. I promise you won't have to talk to him again. But if you can tell us who your debt's with to confirm it and give us details on exactly what they told you to do and what their requirements were. Look, I'm a journeyman at the Architects Guild. You don't have to keep lying to your people if you work with me, okay? I can't pay you. You know how many funds our family has. But I have other things. I look at Fortuna. Yeah?
Ability. Yeah. I think you don't have any social abilities. So I are you...
I have liar still. Thank you very much. That is my one ability.
Hasn't lied just yet. Yeah, you can tell she has not uttered a lie just yet.
I'll wait for one of the faces to back me.
But you can definitely tell. She's like, no, tell them just where to go. Tell them where to go. No.
Please, Etta. Paulina begs for you to be okay. Matteo begs for you to be okay. And look, I know you have no reason to think I give a shit about you, but I don't give a shit about half of anything I'm involved with. Okay? And this is all so terribly bigger than any of us can understand. I'll be spending charm. Yeah. I'd be glad to make a charm spend.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make the charm spend. And I'll say you had kind of got Oscar on your side. And so he steps up and he's like, yes, Etta, you can listen to him. He is trustworthy. He will not harm you. And he puts this massive hand that is probably bigger than your head on your shoulder, Chauncey. And he's like, and he just puts it down, not necessarily threateningly, but he is a good man. He has given me his word on the penalty of harm. If he were to lie to me, trust me, Etta, they will not find him in the morning.
For what it's worth, I just want to take care of my family, but also you've been so kind and so good. You do so much for us, and there are so many... Palantir, that man is a canker sore on the taint. Can we just agree upon
really,
that?
You could have done a better job taking care of him.
She's like, yes, he is. I say that all the time.
He is. And of course, I can't say that out there, right? But he is.
We say it about him all the time. Around him, he is anything we say. We've said it to his face. And he thinks
Fortuna just has her hand on her temples while this conversation is happening, and she's just rubbing her temples.
Idea.
Yeah.
Just the massive idea. You've already gone from Henrietta to Etta. By what is it possible you might do a different name under a different noble family who would love to take care of you that I know very well, that I would love to see you taking care of Super well. Have you heard of the Carpaccios?
And she's like, yes, the one asks
Yes.
about you all the time.
You look like an Enya to me. Let's forget the T's and let's do more of a yeah. Let's soften up. Let's go from Etta to Enya.
She's thinking, like you can see her eyes, like she's calculating. But then she looks up and she's again looking at Arkadiy, and then she looks at like Fortuna and she, is what he says true? Will you not harm me? Will you make sure I am safe?
As has been mentioned, we are in need of information, and we have come very recently to have a better understanding of your situation. So we will consider what is in everyone's best interest. And yes, I would agree with Chauncey's recommendation.
You're really slowing down on that last part of the sentence.
Yeah. Spend has already been made.
Fortuna.
So she's a little nervous. Yeah. Yes. I did not know that anyone was going to be attacked or killed. I wasn't aware of that. All I was told to do was to make Eliana ready for sea travel. That is all that they needed.
Sea travel?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the pirate ship we need to go check out. Yeah.
Pirate ship?
Is at sea?
Can you guys not keep up? Yes, the pirate ship from Sag Harbor, who is
No, they're not in Sag Harbor. No.
Please do continue. Do continue. We are hanging on your every word of the location of our matriarch.
I was told that they need a friendly face that dear Eliana would recognize, and she recognizes me for the most part. But then the killing happened, and I panicked a little bit, but I had to do what they told me, but so I got her a few things, and I told her she was going on an adventure, and she was very excited. She said she needed to be back, though. She couldn't leave for very long, and I told her that she would be back, and that seemed to calm her, and I had to deliver her to the lighthouse.
And you guys would know that there's like a lighthouse in Alderhall, like further northeast. It's just a well-known place.
Okay.
And so I did, and I was supposed to deliver her to a skiff, which I did, and then they left, and that was my job. But I know nothing about a pirate ship in Sag Harbor. No. She kind of looks nervously. I did overhear them speaking angrily to each other. They were not pleasant men. They were not gentlemen.
If we showed you some statues of the dead ones, would you recognize them?
I don't even know how to answer that question. I can tell you that they were dressed very terribly, and they had tattoos, and they carried curves and blades, and they smelled quite foul, very, very foul. Thankfully, Eliana's nose has long stopped working. She can barely smell or taste anything. She didn't complain at all. She seemed quite excited, actually, to be going on a trip. But I heard that they were taking her to the ship, which they had hidden away in the seething fen. It is. I heard Pelletier once mention how it used to be a salt lagoon many years ago, and no longer. It's Chugat's territory now, but she was among. They were very capable. Well, I'm sure she is fine. I'm sure. I'm sure the ransom that they're going to ask for will be coming soon.
No. Our building is literally coming apart at the seams. It's the tower came down this it's weird.
Oh,
But
I know nothing of that part. No, they said they were just going to ransom her, and then I would get a portion, and I would pay off my debts, and then she would be back, and there would be no harm, no foul, and then the killing started. I know nothing of the killing. I want to make sure that is abundantly clear. I know nothing. I knew nothing of the killing.
Of course. We of course there's a little bit more discourse to be had after this is done. But I strongly recommend you've had a terrible time. There's been a tower that has crumbled, and it's been terribly jarring and incredibly scary. Matteo, you remember Matteo, correct?
Yes.
And Paulina? Yes. They've gone to the Scarpaccio estate. Are you familiar with there?
Yes.
You're to go there.
Valentina asks very personal questions about you.
If you feel out of sorts, it's simply because maybe there was debris that fell. Perhaps a brick hit upon your head as the tower crumbled. What terrible luck, correct? But go there. Paulina will support you. Matteo will support you. Mr. Carpaccio is a lovely friend of mine. She will support you. Go and find safe haven. Please.
She's going to look at Fortuna.
I don't know. Is this true? Am I not? Are you not cross?
I am absolutely cross.
She's always
However,
cross.
we have spent the last day trying to find leads, and you have given us far more valuable information than anything that we had come up with. So I, of course, must weigh that out with the choices that you made, as distasteful and unloyal as they were, and they were quite disloyal. However, I am not unreasonable. And if we are able to see ourselves through rescuing Eliana, then I could find my way to some forgiveness.
Oh, good job.
She's like looking and around at all the faces and reading them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very. I am so very sorry. I had no idea who was. I'm so very. I know nothing of the crumbling and the dam. So thank you.
Yeah, I don't think also you're getting money, but can you, I pull out the necklace with the symbol on it from the Lost Culture. And just confirm, did you see this also? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah.
Madam.
I was partially right, I'll have you know.
Madam Tonichi, she wears jewelry of with that symbol. Yes.
I'm sorry. The woman. This is the woman of the opera, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So Ludovica Tanucci is her
This
name.
is the first
so,
time we've
sorry.
heard that, right?
I'm sorry. The woman of the opera
Probably.
wears this.
I think this is the first time Solid
It
Beach
might
has
be.
heard that. Yeah.
It might be. I
Hey,
can't
who's-
remember if Arkadiy thought of it or not. I think he saw the one. I can't remember if he made a spend to know it.
Yeah, I don't know if he
Vincent
get-
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know Vincent, obviously, is on a boat with him.
Okay, we'll say you haven't. We'll say for the sake of it, you haven't heard of it yet.
Sorry,
No.
the opera.
Yes. Yes. She's a prima donna at the opera house.
Well,
she
yes,
was
I'm aware
the
of that.
One,
But she wears that necklace.
Of course. Yes, she was the one who approached me about the opportunity to pay off my debts if I betrayed you. I'm so sorry, but they are crushing, and they've been haunting me. And she's like, they've been in my mind. They've been in my dreams. I can hear the voices, the threats. And when I sleep, I see them. When I wake, I hear them. And however, but Miss Tonucci said that she could help me, and that she could get them. She could get me. Well, I used to work at at the opera house. You see, I used to work in.
Yes, where?
She was.
We were going to go there next.
She was always very kind. I was a bit shocked when she asked me to participate in this, but I suppose opera singing is not a viable career path, or one that does not pay particularly well.
But
She
the
seems very
voices you're
confused.
hearing, you started to hear after talking to her.
I've had them for years now.
Can
To
I
be honest.
assess her as a sorcerer?
Sure. Sure, absolutely.
Leechcraft? Doctor Inspection on her?
Yeah, for sure. That sounds fun.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Between her and the story that she said, and then what Arkadiy said to you all, and Arkadiy did convey this.
Yeah, you remember the prophecy bit.
He had and a woman seemed to like just know he was there, viewing it, and spoke to him. This definitely seems like it's part of the same sphere of magic. Someone who's capable of like getting in minds and dreams and visions and has that kind of control, for sure.
Okay, maybe not since she hired you this time, but maybe since the opera house you've been hearing voices?
Well, yes, it was.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely her. She messed with Arkadiy too.
No.
Oh, yes,
no,
yes,
Mr.
yes.
Nietzsche,
Yep.
she's always been very
not a
kind.
good person.
No, well, I don't know that she's no. She did have me assist in the kidnapping. Now that I think of it, so perhaps
It
but
is
everyone.
to my niece's point.
everything you do what you need to.
But I do believe that she was both the one who tortured you and the one who offered you the
Yes.
relief.
Yeah. She's giving you relief against herself.
So I would beg you to take some restitution at the Scarpaccio estate. The way I'm going to play it is I'm going to tell her, like, oh, I hope to spend some time with you more soon, and it's hard to move in before you've established yourself. You know, that whole sort of thing. And, like, maybe she can be like, oh, here's some familiar faces. It'll help Mr. Chauncey. Just don't worry about it. Just lean on Polina and Matteo. You'll be fine.
Yes.
And you can tell she's like calculating and she's like a little concerned now.
Yes. I'll go. Yes. I'll go. I'll go.
And you hear like Oscar's like, yes, and I shall make sure she gets there safely. Do not worry. She
Thank
will
you,
be fine.
so
Mr.
much.
Oscar. I was
You are
just about
just-
to ask that.
It feels good to know there's a reassuring presence here. Can I call you a friend in the future?
Oh my god.
Well,
Is that too much?
Suppose that you might, if you have a reason to need metalworking or machinery repair,
I don't know
At your
much about it,
disposal?
but I'll know in the future that you are the person to turn to.
well, yes, I suppose, yes, you can seek me out if such needs are.
I'm going to clasp your shoulder now. You're a real man. You are. Oh, you are a real man. Oh my.
Well then, I shall take her now, if you have no further questions for her. He says, come at her.
No, we do, Henrietta. We do.
You
Thank
see
you
he's not happy at that.
for your candor.
Yes. It's the least I could do. Good fortune in getting back dear Heliana. She is a very sweet woman. Not all her faculties remain, but those that do, she cares at least for the servants. I'm sorry. And she could tell she's like starting to cry and like, yeah, come now. That these people, they have more important matters now to attend to. You have done your part. Come with me. And he's like leading her out. And we'll go ahead and say, that's it for tonight. We'll call it there. And we'll pick up on that next week.
I do just want to say really quick, I did that backwards. I meant to emphasize that I was calling her by her actual name, not the other name. And I got twisted.
It's better this way. It's better this way. It's so much better this way.
Is such a worse person than I am.
Goodness.
Like, really? We're putting it back there? All right.
Like, all right.
Oh, no.
That was great.
As soon as I
thought
saw
it was
the
more
face,
like
I was like,
remember to call yourself by that name when you go back into like, into the servant place, Oh, goodness.
Her face. Like Jeffy playing her face. I was like, oh, no, I did a bad thing.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we have moved it along. You guys got a lot of good information tonight. And then Vincent is he's in a freaking swamp surrounded by toad people. So
you're fine. Vincent's great. That's great. Just nothing bad could happen to Vincent.
Nothing bad's going to happen. There's not going to be an army of dead people coming.
I triple dare you to spirit sight and look at all the dead people on that boat.
There's so many dead people.
I triple dare you.
This is a swamp. There are so many dead people. You're going to get overwhelmed.
It'll come to that eventually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay. Well, think about what you guys want to do next, and we'll figure out how we start the next session off. But I'm very excited. We'll go from there. I want to say a belated thank you to Demon X and Matt in the Hat. Looks like you guys raided a while back. We must have been in story. Sorry about that. But thank you so much for the raid, guys. Yeah. We appreciate it. Okay, let's do a couple closing plugs. Aaron's not here to do Garblag, but Garblag Games, they're our friends. They stream on UK time, so check them out during the week. They got all sorts of awesome games over there, and we love what they do. And then for us, first thing I'll mention is my buddy Steven. Our buddy Steven is making a game called Huckleberry, which is a Western horror with some cinematic action. Jerry's got one too. Big stuff coming this month. There's a new update. There's a quick start on the horizon. I don't know if it's out yet or not. Steven might be able to answer that. But he showed me some things, some cool art he's been sharing, by the way, in the Discord. And he's got like a landing page for BackerKit now, I think it is. That's going to be coming out later this year. When he starts doing some crowdfunding for a full proper version. So come on the Discord, talk about Huckleberry, go to huckleberryrpg.com and you get all sorts of cool stuff. In terms of streaming, we're done for the weekend, which is weird because Friday, tomorrow night, we got a bunch of people we got like birthdays and people out of town and stuff like that. So Friday night, no Magnus Archives, unfortunately. Saturday night, no Han Cluster. We'll be back on Monday with more Otherscape. You'll see the top row here playing through that. And we'll have all our good times Tuesday, Perils of Princesses, next Thursday, Swords of the Serpentine, and check YouTube for all of our other games, including Aaron's Dragonbane and other good stuff. All right, that's it for us. So let's go ahead and do a raid on somebody. I forgot that since I'm the one doing all the plugs this time, I didn't have Aaron talking to give me time. But I'm just going to raid Insomnia and RPG because they're our buddies. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Arrivederci.